JLo's sending a message, but it's probably not the message you're thinking. It's been a rough few weeks for JLo, and someone like JLo, you can't imagine that she's going to stay down for long, but there's a little bit of a twist. And subscribe, I appreciate that. For the last 25 years, JLo's been through ups and downs. We all know that. And every time she's been down and out, she comes roaring back. And even when she's been counted out where critics and many others in the industry and the media have counted her out and said that she's done, she's come back. And typically when she's come back even a little bit better. She's one of those few stars who not only has lasted and been relevant for such a long period, but she keeps besting what she did before. Because especially when you look at when she first came out and not when she first came out, but when she really first got onto the mainstream scene with On the 6th, when she released her album, that's really when she went mainstream. And for a lot of artists, that would be the pinnacle. That would be the top of the top, because that record was an absolute smash. It was a huge hit, and it made her a huge star. It made her a global star at that point. And a lot of artists would not only stop there, but probably be happy at that point having that accomplishment. Not to mention, it's not that even that a lot of stars would be happy there. A lot of stars want to be able to get past there, because it also takes a certain type of person to be able to go from that level, that high up, to go even higher up, in which she did. And don't forget, at that point too, she kind of almost went from, I wouldn't say obscurity, because she was known and she was kind of on the come up, but she made a jump like very few people have. Even in the last 25 years, I mean, you can name a small amount of people who've gone from almost obscurity to being like a megastar. I hate to say overnight, but unless you were following her closely, that's what it really seemed like. It seemed like it was really overnight that she came roaring out of anywhere. But anyways, let's get back to the point of what I think she's making a statement on. The initial photo, the initial post was that, she's showing Ben, hey, this is what you're missing. And there's probably a little bit of that in there. I mean, that's kind of typical after a breakup. Whether you're for guys and girls, you always wanna be a little bit better, show your best side, your best self, and show the other person, hey, you know what, you messed up, not me. And that's what it looks like, what it appears she's doing. I think it's a little bit deeper than that, because do keep in mind, like we talked about before, JLo's kind of had a series of, and we're not going to go over them all again, but she's had a series of defeats in the last, couple years. It's kind of been, from one brick wall to turn to hit another brick wall to hit another brick wall. And I almost think that this is her way of saying, I'm not done. I'm not done at all. And I'm coming back. And I'm going to come back better than I was before. Because again, that's what she's always done. And when you have such a big hit so early on in your career, there's so many artists who have had big hits that's it. Then they stick to that. That's their big hit of their career. And not only was, for JLo, that was her big hit in music. She's gone on to have big hits in, for acting, and she's had big hits. She had more hits in music, and she's toured, and she's got her own cosmetic lines, and I mean, you name it. Her alcohol brands. It's incredible what she's done and what she's been able to do, and she hasn't stopped, and she does not appear to stop. And you can't imagine how someone like JLo is gonna stop. There's nothing. I don't think it's in her DNA. There's certain people who just go, and it doesn't matter how much money they made, they lost, whether they're making money, whether they're not making money, whatever it is. There's just people that just go 100 miles an hour and they just keep going, and that's the type of person that she is. We know that, but I think this is her way of saying, no, I'm here to stay. I'm coming back. I'm going to make a comeback, and I'm going to do something big. And again, that's what we expect that she will do. And again, I think, and that's one of the reasons why we admire her. I think that she's a person you could really admire, because I think when you have a bad day, a bad month, bad year, you can look at someone like that, who she does too, because and we'll wrap up on this, because I think this is important. There's so many times when we look at someone like, J-Lo, or you look at, any type of celebrity, and it doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could be, someone maybe personally, or someone who's been really successful, whether they've been successful at parenting, or in a job, or in a business, or in a career, or an entertainer, or a musician, whatever it might be. And sometimes we look at those people and we say they have a perfect life, and they've got everything going for them, and as if they never have a bad day. And of course, we know that's not true. And intellectually, we know that's not true. But we believe it for some reason. In our minds, we think, hey, we're having a bad day, we're having a bad month, we're having a bad year, but this person doesn't. Someone like J-Lo she's so out there. She's always been open about, her life. And some people will criticize her for it and say that's she's too much of an open book. But I think as a fan, I think that's kind of refreshing, because you also see her vulnerable side. I think you would say, and like where she doesn't always have bad days. She doesn't always have good days. Where she does have the bad days, and it's refreshing, because you see that she works through it, and then, sometimes that gives you just that, sometimes you need that little extra push. On those days you're having a bad day, or a bad month, or a bad week, or a bad year, sometimes you need that little extra push to say, you know what, yeah, I need to stop, feeling bad for myself, feeling sorry for myself, beating up on myself, whatever it might be, because, this person's pushing through it. They're having problems too. J-Lo's having problems. She's pushing through it. And that's the thing right now. She's been having problem after problem after problem, and she's been, in the media, and she's been kind of keeping it quiet. And, she's criticized in the media, and, she's criticized by, the critics and whoever else. And, people are writing her off at this point. But I think that's her way of saying, no, I'm not going away, and I'm coming back.